Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I think everyone is aware about the fact that President Trump decided to freeze funding for the World Health Organization amid the raging pandemic, holding the UN body responsible for not only failing at its job but worse, severely mismanaging the crisis and colluding with China to launder Beijing's sin of omission and commission.
Today I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there.
It was a massive decision by the president, and it was also criticized by a number of world great leaders. But what was the reason behind it? Had the pandemic been controlled if WHO was a bit more careful? In this video, I shall attempt to piece together the many instances of WHO's failure and the impact of those failures. It would be evident that the virus could have been stopped in its tracks multiple times had the WHO shown a little more spine in standing up to China. There needs to be absolute clarity on the fact that COVID-19 infection wouldn't have led to a pandemic had China been quick, honest and transparent in sharing data. Patient 0, the first case of someone infected by COVID-19, appeared on 17 November in Hubei province of China, and positive cases proliferated in December. China was following its patent standard operating procedure one saw during the 2003 SARS outbreak. The experience of that crisis should have spurred the WHO into recognizing the warning signs and apply pressure on China. The world has a little faith on Chinese data and narrative. However, when that same narrative gets the WHO ratification, the game changes because the WHO draws its legitimacy from the implicit trust that nations put on it. In this case, the WHO acted as China's force multiplier. On 10 January, the WHO advised other countries against imposing travel restrictions on China. 2 days later, it repeated the same message. The WHO's Director General Tedros has on more than one occasion warned nations against imposing travel bans on China that, according to him, increase fear and stigma with little public health benefit.
There is no reason for measures that unnecessarily interfere with international travel and trade. We call on all countries to implement decisions that are evidence-based and consistent. WHO stands ready to provide advice to any country that's considering which measures to take.
The WHO's failure in recommending travel restrictions led other nations into keeping their guard lowered, resulting in speedier spread of the COVID-19 disease. By the time Wuhan has locked down on 23rd January, at least 5 million residents had left the city for Lunar New Year holidays. Interestingly, while China fulminated against travel bans and quoted the WHO's recommendations, the first thing that Beijing did after arresting the pandemic was to close its border to international traffic to avoid second wave of transmissions. The WHO's now infamous tweet on 14 January has been well documented and discussed threadbare. This single announcement that made the world have a false sense of security when the pandemic was already raging in Wuhan reflects the rot at heart of the WHO. The UN body based its claim on Chinese data and is therefore guilty of double deception. It is the WHO's basic job to verify claims, and it should have been doubly careful in trusting a malevolent actor who has a history of suppressing data and spreading false information. Instead, the WHO endorsed China's lies. A day later, Taiwan alerted the WHO that human-to-human transmission was taking place in Wuhan, but the WHO ignored the warning. It is difficult to believe that the WHO all along remained blind to the reality. If it didn't, then it is guilty of collusion. But if it was blind, then it is guilty of rank incompetence. Where it should have been alert and vigilant, the WHO displayed gullibility and remained in awe of China's achievement of preliminary identification of a novel virus in a short period of time. Nothing captures the incompetence of the WHO more than the Taiwan issue, the island nation that remains de-recognized by the UN body in deference to Beijing's One China policy. Despite being so close to mainland China and high degree of interconnectivity between the two nations, it managed to curb their contagion and reported only 6 deaths by 18th April and just 395 confirmed cases, a low number for a population of 23.8 million. Taiwan was successful in its battle precisely because it paid no heed to WHO's early efforts of downplaying the crisis and implemented a set of policies, including proactive steps, aggressive screening and testing, contact tracing, quarantine and deployment of big data and technology. In its response, Taiwan has been guided by its experience during the SARS and MERS outbreaks. Taiwanese lawyer Yu Ji-shen has pointed out that Taiwan has continuously shared coronavirus data with the WHO but the WHO has never released this information to its members. Additionally, in a February coronavirus status report, the WHO misreported the number of cases in Taiwan based on information provided by China. Taiwan's exclusion is an example of how the world's health body put politics before public health. The botched-up interview where a high-ranking official cut the phone line and then pretended not to hear a question on Taiwan has received global attention.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
Writing in Bloomberg, Ellie Lake points out that Trump's action against WHO came after the organization refused to entertain a single request among a few put forward by the US, including Taiwan's participation in World Health Assembly, pressing China to provide US public health agencies with a complete set of early samples of the virus, and providing greater transparency into how the virus initially spread within China. Only after Tedros declined these requests did Trump cut off funding, in an attempt to pressure him to change his mind. Sky News Australia has reported that during a WHO meeting in Geneva on 30th January, the organization blocked requests from doctors and experts who wanted to issue a travel ban in response to COVID-19. Daily Caller has reported that WHO ignored suggestions from one of its own officials, Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, who suspected human-to-human transmission right from the start. The WHO is also guilty of taking inordinate amount of time in declaring coronavirus as public health emergency of international concern that would have caused nations worldwide to take note. By the time it was declared, confirmed cases of COVID-19 had increased tenfold with 7,781 cases across 18 countries. Before ending this video, I would like to ask all of you to comment your views regarding whether it was the right time for US to cut funding to WHO in this moment of crisis, or whether WHO did deserve that by not giving proper information to the nations, which resulted in the loss of so many lives. If you liked the video, then please do like it and subscribe my channel.